Do you ever get confused about in time, on time, and all the other time expressions? You know what they mean and how to use them. Well, in this lesson, we're going to look at 7 common time expressions using the word time that you'll commonly hear in British English. Now, hello, you wonderful people. My name is Roy Woodhouse, and I am a British English teacher. And on this channel, you'll learn things connected with British English and, of course, a modern British RP accent. And in today's lesson, we are looking at some common time expressions. So let's dive in. The first one is at the time. At the time. Now, at the time basically means at a particular point of time, at the particular point when something was thought of or done. So when you had a particular idea or something was done. So it's talking about a particular point in time. Now, with this expression, you'll commonly hear that first word, at, used in the weak form, at the time, at the time. An example of this would be, climbing that mountain seemed like a great idea at the time, but in hindsight, it was a terrible idea. So what I'm saying here is that when I had the idea of climbing the mountain, it seemed like a brilliant plan, but now I think about it, not so good. So at that particular moment, it was a great idea. At the time, or at the time. Next up, we have a classic, which is in time. In time. Now we're going to talk about 2 different meanings. So I suppose instead of 7 common expressions, you've now got 8. So the first use of in time can basically mean in the future or with the passing of time. Now, the second meaning is probably the one you really want to learn about, but in time can be used to mean with the passing of time. So don't worry, you'll forget all about her in time. So maybe you had a bad breakup with a girlfriend and somebody's telling you that with the passing of time, in time, you'll forget about her. The second meaning of in time basically means early enough or with enough time to do something. So you finished the project in time. So you had a limit of the amount of time that you had to finish this project, and it's basically saying that within that time frame you finished in time. Now, one that in time gets confused with quite commonly is on time. On time basically means happening or completed at a particular moment in time that was expected to happen or be done. In other words, it means punctual. It means exactly the right time. So if the meeting starts at 9 a.m. and you arrive at 9 a.m., you arrive on time for the meeting. We commonly talk about the trains running on time. In other words, they are running exactly as they are expected. Now, to give a comparison between in time and on time, if the meeting starts at 9 a.m. and you arrive at 9 a.m., then you are on time for the meeting. But if you arrive at 8:45, you arrive in time to have a cup of tea before the meeting. Next up, we have quite an informal expression, and that is about time. About time. Now, this is said when somebody does something or something happens that you think should have happened before, or it should have happened much earlier. So, for example, maybe, there's a couple, a boyfriend and a girlfriend that have been together for years, and you think that that person should have proposed years ago, many years ago. And finally they propose. You could say, about time. You should have proposed years ago. You've been with her for years. Another example, if the bus arrives a little bit late, you could say, about time too. Another word that we use often with this expression, about time too. So if the bus arrives a little bit late and you're looking at your watch, about time too. In other words, you think that the bus should have arrived earlier, or it should have been on time, but now you're complaining. And we often also hear this as it's about time. It's about time that that bus arrived. Next up, we have from time to time. From time to time. This basically means sometimes, but not often. In other words, every now and then. So maybe that girlfriend that we talked about with the one in time you'll forget about her. Maybe still after a few years, you think about her from time to time. Or maybe you have a friend and you have an argument, and you could say, I still think about him from time to time, but we don't really speak anymore. It basically means every now and then. Next up, we have for the time being. Now, this means for a limited period of time, a limited amount of time. So, for example, you're at work, the manager decides to leave, and you need to find a replacement. But during that kind of interim period, somebody will be in charge for the time being. So you could say, Dave will be in charge for the time being while we look for a new manager. Now, this is commonly heard in the world of football. When one manager leaves to go and manage another football club, they have an interim manager who is in charge for the time being. And notice that in the expression for the time being, we often use the weak form of the preposition for the time being. For the time being. So Dave will be in charge for the time being. And finally, we have in no time. Now, in no time basically means very quickly or very soon. So it's talking about a very short amount of time. So let me give you an example. You go into somebody's kitchen, it is a disaster, there are plates, dirty plates, there's food everywhere, and you look at it and say, don't worry, we'll have this place clean in no time. In other words, very quickly. We often also hear this expression as next to no time. We'll have this place clean in next to no time. So there you have it. 7 common time expressions that you will hear used in British English. And if you keep watching these videos, you will learn these words in next to no time. Let me know in the comments below if there are any other words like this you would like me to explain, because there are lots of time expressions. But from me today, all it leaves me to say is thank you very much for watching. Please do like, comment, and I will see you in the next lesson. Bye!